Are so excited the home stretch on Fridays bring this guy in. If it's music, if it's some weird indie film with subtitles where you need to, go to the internet to figure out the ending. That is Michael. But if it's a comic book in your face, it's DC versus Marvel. He has that stuff too. He's amazing. I don't know how he does it. He writes his column in the Marina Times, the Coastal Commuter. He comes and goes already. Come on for Michael Snyder. Come on, Michael Snyder.
Hey, hi everybody.
You are the culture blaster.
I'm happy
Blast
to
away.
be here. I'm happy. I'm happy here, but I'm a little sad. I'm a little distraught.
Why is that?
Sadly, my shark bath toy ate my rubber ducky.
Wow, that is tough.
Attacked and ate my rubber ducky.
If only you'd known about the recall before you put the two in the same tub.
It was a big mistake. On the other hand, I'm also really happy. I want to announce the publication of my new broadcast horror novel, In the Mouth of Marky. It's going to be big, I promise you.
The Mouth of Marky is a popular...
You're going to have to close the Marky Mouth.
It's Marky Mouth for the actual title.
I want to get serious briefly. Right. Considering the massive and obvious engineering flaws with Ocean Gate's Titan submersible, the fact that they were deliberately ignored by the CEO of the company, also a passenger on the sub, makes him the front runner for a 2023 Darwin Award. All right. Unfortunately... he'll be unable to attend.
I don't even know if it was Darwin. I think it was, it was hubris, Michael. You, of all people, a writer, sophisticate, you know that in truth, is the word that probably best applies here, don't you think?
He won't be able to attend the ceremony, by the way. And I know this seems too soon.
It is too soon, Michael. It really is.
Well, not soon enough for me. I just feel like, it's a tragedy, but
it's your job to somehow find... a way to puncture the moment, isn't it? That's who you are. You're a puncturer.
I'm the pin in the balloon, baby.
You are. Okay.
Want to talk movies?
Yeah. Speaking of puncturing the balloon, how about the Giants? It kind of ran into a brick wall.
We got a double dose of sports in the past day or so of upsetting sports news. On one hand, oh my God, a 10-game winning streak. These kids are fantastic. I am loving Luis Matos. He seems like a natural. Casey Schmidt, Patrick Bailey, he's running that pitching staff like an old hand. And yet, they hit a wall yesterday. But 10 games in a row, they are in a great position. People never would have guessed. As a matter of fact, MLB.com just tried to keep ignoring the winning streak. How about these Cincinnati Reds? They just hate us out here on the West Coast.
There's never been anything like this.
I'm excited about them, and I'm thrilled to see that they're in the catbird seat right now. They're ready to make a leap at the Diamondbacks this weekend. Go Giants. Also, kind of strange news from Warriors Central. Jordan Poole, who obviously was one of the sloppiest ball handlers in the history of the Warriors, moved to the Wizards for the hated Chris Paul. This guy was just not, a hero to Warriors fans, well loved. So maybe this is the first in a series of moves.
It's a new chapter, Michael. It's a new chapter. Get into it.
Smashed it with your iron rod.
Smash the new chapter with your iron rod.
I want to get into movies. What do you say?
Let's do it. Okay,
all right,
great.
let's launch things with idiosyncratic, highly mannered filmmaker Wes Anderson's new movie.
Idiosyncratic, okay.
Asteroid City, visually dazzling, star-studded 1950s period piece.
Whenever he starts with visually dazzling, you know that the other shoe is about to drop.
Okay.
Like the script doesn't live up to the... Okay,
well, it's
go
set
ahead.
in a southwestern desert town that's playing host to a national student science fair. Little do the organizers know that the event will be turned upside down by unexpected visitors. We'll call them unexpected visitors. Except it isn't a simple straight-line narrative. This is a Wes Anderson movie. It's a movie within a stage play, complete with a narrator, Bryan Cranston as a sort of Rod Serling type, providing meta commentary, and cast members doing double duty as actors in the play and in the movie. So we're in a big city theater. It's New York in the 50s. Watching the playwright working on his script, which segues into the play itself, which actually cuts to the desert location, then shifts back to, the theater fire escape for a conversation between actors and so on. This sort of structural prestidigitation. Is Anderson showing off his creativity or kind of bludgeoning us with it? Self-indulgence. Thy name is Wes Anderson. As much as I love me some of his movies, like I have no arguments with The Grand Budapest Hotel, The Fantastic Mr. Fox, and my favorite, Moonrise Kingdom. And as much as I am in awe of his like kind of precise, visually inventive art direction, and particularly his exquisite use of pastel color palettes, his dry wit, and his oddball characters and settings, sometimes he's a little much too much,
And so let me just understand, the much too much part is the skipping around you felt was the most disconcerting aspect of this?
He was trying to play with structure, and he was also trying to make a point, I think, about how drama impacts people, how we all take on personas. I mean, there are a lot of there's subtext galore here.
Okay.
I have to say, his much too much extends to his casts, which lately are loaded with so many big names that some of them are reduced to cameos of cameos, a single scene, like one line, even just a kind of a silent gesture. I wanted to love the recent one he did, The French Dispatch, which kind of an episodic bundle of shaggy dog stories. It was the movie equivalent of a literary magazine where the articles are hit and miss, but there's no turning the page from a lesser one to find a better one because it's a movie. You're sitting there watching a movie. You can't fast forward until it's available digitally. Anyway, a different sort of pastiche. Asteroid City has moments of crazy comedy derived from director, co-screenwriter Anderson's off-kilter worldview, the military-industrial complex and government overreach, the provincial nature of small towns, clumsy old-school parenting. This is the 1950s. Ships that pass in the night romance, and the kind of profligate lifestyles of the wealthy are targeted. All that stuff is fodder for this guy. And there are some magical moments from an embarrassment of big names, including, but not limited to, Cranston, Jason Schwartzman, Scarlett Johansson, Tom Hanks, Jeffrey Wright, Tilda Swinton, Ed Norton, Adrian Brody, Liev Schreiber, Hope Davis, Steve Carell, Matt Dillon, Hong Chow, Willem Dafoe, Margot Robbie, and is that Jeff Goldblum?
Wow.
Oh my God, maybe. So, I mean, you're looking at this who's who.
If you get it in order, you get extra points.
You're looking at this who's who and going, again, an embarrassment of riches. Schwartzman as a widower with 3 precocious young daughters, and Johansson as a movie star with a daughter of her own.
Precocious, yeah.
Elevate the movie with kind of a lovely chemistry as they enact a brief romantic interlude. So how is this less than the sum of its parts is a question that I can only answer by saying that for all of the on-screen star power and eye candy, Asteroid City never quite takes off or lands. Still,
Wow.
props are due. For all the typical Anderson quirkiness on display, there are some like deep themes here. Random but impactful interpersonal connection and the power of drama are among them. And the color scheme of the desert and the rock formations in the distance look straight out of a Warner Brothers Roadrunner cartoon directed by Chuck Jones. And this does produce one sly gag, or maybe a slight sight gag. The artifice is such that there's very little emotional impact
Artifice.
to Asteroid City, which is located at the junction of clever and smug, Mark.
That's I love that junction, actually.
It's a less uneven step up from The French Disciple, not up to the
Dispatch,
warm...
the French Dispatch.
The French Dispatch. I'm a disciple of Wes Anderson, and I'm saying the French Dispatch was like, meh, and not up to the warm-inspired whimsy of Moonrise Kingdom.
Or Royal Tenenbaums was, I thought, really good.
I love many of his films.
Stuff, yeah.
So,
He tried to do too much here, it sounds
yeah,
like?
he's given license to do what he wants. He's an auteur.
Yeah.
And honestly, fans are going to lap up a lot of it. I just think it's one of his lesser works, despite all the effort put in here. It's in theaters. And again, I recommend it for Wes Anderson fans. The rest of us, go seek out one of the other movies I recommended by Anderson.
By Anderson. I'm told Provincial, we will ding it. Ding words that I missed. I try to ding Michael. It's our new thing in real time because I can't try to. Profligate is certainly a ding word. Should have gotten it. And I am going to ding fodder. I will. Yeah.
Your mother is very upset about you digging your fodder.
Digging your fodder. All
Anyway,
right. All right. Go ahead. What's
taking
next?
the lead in a movie like the somewhat raunchy but ultimately toothless sex comedy No Hard Feelings, Jennifer Lawrence, J-Law, seems to be slumming, especially after her killer dramatic turn last year in the PTSD drama Causeway. But she's always so compelling on screen that even the kind of heavy-handed goings-on in this silly attempt at a summer romp cannot dim her light. Lawrence plays Maddie, a financially strapped screw-up whose car has been repossessed, so her job as an Uber driver is scotched. Unable to pay her property taxes, she's facing eviction from the home where she grew up in the increasingly upscale resort town of Montauk, New York.
Yeah.
So desperate, she answers an ad placed by a rich couple who are offering a nice functioning car to the right young woman willing to deflower their smart but awkward son, Percy, before he starts his freshman year at Princeton in the fall.
That is outrageous as a premise. How does this get made?
Well,
Go ahead.
I don't know. Having Lawrence navigate this occasionally amusing but inspiration-challenged throwback of a script is like swatting a mosquito with an anvil. I mean, I guess I'm still thinking about the Coyote and Roadrunner movies or something. That said, she is fun to watch, and Andrew Barth Feldman is a decent foil as the uptight Percy. And talk about not making the best use of serious talent. Percy's parents are played by Matthew Broderick, Mr. Sarah Jessica Parker, of course, and the star of Ferris Bueller's Day Off, a classic of teen comedy, and Laura Benanti, Broadway diva, and she's the woman who regularly delivered that devastating caricature of Melania Trump on The Late Show with Colbert. They're the parents here, but they're given way too little to do, so it's up to Lawrence to carry the load, and she does as well as she can. Directed and co-written by Gene Stupnitsky, I think his name is, Stupnitsky, something like that. No Hard Feelings strikes me as wait for streaming TV stuff, you know? I wish it had been funnier. I laughed at times. It just didn't crackle. And it was, again, this premise where I was like, what?
It's sort of an uncomfortable premise. On the other hand, it feels very, you know what it feels like? It feels like a 1970s premise almost, you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
But then the actors that you mentioned, Broderick among them, for the awkward, he's perfect for the younger role, actually, back 25, 30 years ago.
When he was Ferris Bueller.
When he was Ferris Bueller, exactly.
And Laura Benanti, if you haven't seen her as Melania Trump on The Colbert Show, she is a national treasure. Great singer, again, a Broadway diva, and so they're reduced to playing mom and pop here.
So No Hard Feelings is kind of a pass, although there's some good moments.
Yeah. I would say, again, video if you're interested. I mean, Jennifer Lawrence, I just love watching her perform. If you saw the violent, explosive 2020 action movie Extraction and got a kick out of watching Chris Thor Hemsworth with short hair and no hammer as a brutally effective Aussie black ops mercenary with guns, knives, bombs, and a heart, I have good news. Extraction 2 is as much wild death, destruction, and daring do as its predecessor, if not more. What the hell? It's actually better. Hemsworth, barely surviving the events of the first movie. Well, Hemsworth, his character, he's playing this guy named, Tyler Rake. He's often shot and beaten, but somehow unkillable. His specialty is rescuing people from impossible circumstances. This time out, the assignment is for Rake to break into a Georgian prison to free the battered wife and children of a powerful, politically connected gangster who has arranged for his family to be locked up with him for the duration of what might be a very long sentence. The cruelty. Rake and his team begin to do what they do best, but it may not be enough when the gangster's devoted but equally vicious brother sends an army of thugs after the somewhat good guys. The prison sequence is a rapid-fire wonder that looks like a single take, and a climactic set piece in and on top of a skyscraper in Vienna is this barrage of kind of white-knuckle thrills, like Extraction, which, by the way, is available on Netflix. Extraction 2 was directed by Sam Hargrave and written by Joe Russo of the Russo brothers, the movie-making siblings whose Captain America and Avengers movies are among the best from Marvel Studios. Extraction 2 is a genuine turn-off-your-brain roller coaster ride, and conveniently enough, like Extraction, it's available on Netflix. One final note, I don't want to spoil the brief appearance by a major star in Extraction 2, but his name rhymes with Idris Elba.
Wow, that's pretty big.
What?
John wants to know if you need to see Extraction 1 to
I think
appreciate Extraction 2.
Yeah, and if you have Netflix, you can. And I say back-to-back, double feature, Saturday night, rock and roll with Hemsworth's incredibly vicious but good-hearted, deep-down rake.
It's violence for the heart.
So available on video starting this weekend is Carmen, and don't let the languid moments fool you.
Languid is clearly a
Carmen is not the Bizet opera, but a love story with original music and ballet set in the rough underworld of contemporary Mexico and the American Southwest, both rural and urban. It's emotionally potent, musically elegant, and deeply romantic, directed by choreographer Benjamin Millipede, with a haunting score by Nicholas Bertel. It concerns Carmen, a beautiful young Mexican woman who is on the run after her mother is killed in their desert home. She heads for the U.S. border with other would-be immigrants, but the crossing turns deadly when a bigoted border guard starts shooting. Carmen, played by Melissa Barrera of In the Heights and Scream, manages to escape with the help of a considerably kinder border guard named Aiden, and played by Paul Mescal of After Sun and God's Creatures. And the two must flee together. You get romance and danger and ballet, and it's all imbued with flourishes of magical realism. It may not be everyone's shot of mezcal, the tequila.
I get it.
But I thought it was lovely. I
get it.
It's available again for streaming now, Carmen. For you,
You're such a writer.
I do what I can.
So I'm sorry. There is music in Carmen.
Yes, there is, and ballet.
Ballet and music, and it's in Espanol or English?
It's in both, so subtitles and English for you English speakers. Quickly, we want to talk about a couple of I'm sorry, you know what? Let's jump to television, because
Thank you.
I really am thrilled to inform everyone involved that Secret Invasion is here. You mentioned my love of superheroes. It's a 6-part gritty Who Do You Trust spy thriller from Marvel, with Sam Jackson reprising his role as super agent Nick Fury and dealing with shapeshifters who have come to Earth and were welcomed by Fury and his buddies, but are now disgruntled because they want a planet of their own. So there's this rebel faction.
And what's it called?
It's called Secret Invasion.
Secret Invasion.
Olivia Colman is in this, Oscar winner, as an MI6 operative. Amelia Clark, Ben Mendelsohn, Kingsley Ben-Adir, and who knows who else, because they keep shifting their shapes. I don't know. Secret Invasion on Disney Plus.
Wow. You really like it, though.
I do. You only need to have watched Captain Marvel for backstory, the Captain Marvel movie, which is a change of pace for a lot of this MCU stuff. Right. And finally, I want to mention, and just like that, on HBO Max, or just plain Max, and just like that, guess who's back? Sarah Jessica Parker with season 2 of the Sex and the City sequel. She's playing Carrie Bradshaw, joined by all her girlfriends, old and new, and boyfriends, new and old. And the promise of the estranged Kim Cattrall back in the fold for at least one scene as controversial as man-eater Samantha. And I don't mean that she actually is a cannibal. You know what I'm talking about.
I get it. It's sort of it's a metaphorical thing.
Yeah, and just like that, we've reached the end of the segment.
And just like that, the Sarah Jessica Parker, Sex and the City kids. Michael sort of said, check it out. Fun little diversion.
If it's your cup of tea or your shot of whiskey. Yeah. Maybe, or your Long Island iced tea. That would be more appropriate considering Carrie and the girls. Yeah.
Secret Invasion is the 6-episode offering that you say is really good. You only need to have seen
Captain Marvel. Nick Fury comes in from the cold to help fight the secret invasion of shape-shifting Skrulls.
Yeah. Carmen is the story that's punctuated by immigrants desperate for a better life, and balletic scenes as well as operatic scenes.
Romance.
It's got it all. It's got español y inglés también. It's got the English and, yeah. Extraction 2 with that sexy beast, Chris Hemsworth. You liked it. You said, hey, check out Extraction 1, then watch it for a delicious extended treat. Extraction 2.
A Netflix double feature for those of you who like
violence
this stuff.
is what Michael's all about.
Oh, yes. It's not for the weak of heart.
No Hard Feelings is the movie with Jennifer Lawrence, the premise of the rich couple who want to get the virginity of their son out of the way, and they want Jennifer Lawrence to be the person to do it. Seems like, I don't know.
What?
All right. But yeah, it's in the what category. But anyway, Michael actually, in a mixed review on this, I would say, like Jennifer Lawrence, felt there were some moments, but also moments wasted. And in the end, it was kind of a meh. No, not making it. Yeah.
No.
And finally, the Wes Anderson film, Asteroid City. Michael felt he has achieved this level in Hollywood where the world shows up to be in his movies and big stars. But sadly, he finds Wes Anderson maybe, even though he's a huge Wes Anderson fan, Michael says that he finds this maybe self-indulgent, and Wes Anderson has lost his way a little bit in an effort to make points or make multiple points about society, about one thing or another.
And whimsy, lots of whimsy.
A lot of whimsy. So you'd say
overloaded
wait.
to the point where a big Hollywood star will be on screen for a second, cough, and that's it. Good night, everybody.
It's wild. I mean, although, yeah, maybe that was the idea, but I don't know. Well, I feel you've done it. I didn't think you could, but you've done it. So you can read Michael Snyder in the Marina Times, and you can find him here on Fridays, reviewing film, reviewing streaming. What's next week?
Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. The fifth and probably final Indiana Jones movie. And you can read all about it in the upcoming issue of the Marina Times, along with the usual doggerel that I spew.
I love it. He comes and goes on a rainbow. Go Giants.
Go Giants.
Bye-bye, Michael. Wow. Always a fun appearance. Hi, it's Mark, and I thought that was great. Hit the notification bell. You'll know whenever there's a new video being dropped, and please subscribe to our channel to help us save the universe.